Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This month's theme is sequels that were better than the original, so we picked the movie Dark Knight, made in 2008, and we bring you movie news into the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston, and guest host Rob Charney.
Hey! The old guy's here.
So who has the synopsis of this movie?
I think Johnny does.
Nope, I'm picking James.
All right.
Override.
So, The Dark Knight, 2 hours and 32 minutes. When Batman, Gordon, and Harvey Dent launch an assault on the mob, they let the clown out of the box. The Joker, bent on turning Gotham on itself and bringing any heroes down to his level.
Yeah, they pretty much spoiled the movie without spoiling it.
Yeah, I think you need to be closer on the mic, by the way. Anyway, I love the tagline of this movie.
Which one was that?
Why so serious?
Right? That was the...
That's what IMDb says is the tagline.
Why so serious?
Yeah.
That was also the social, was it the viral marketing thing? You saw the Joker and why so serious? So this was...
I think I'm going to jump on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to jump on this one just because I picked it and I want to. Anyway, I got to say it again. I really got to dislike Bale's Batman voice. I really do. Just hello, I'm Batman.
Right? It sounds
What
like
is it to you?
it sounds like what happens after you go like an all-night meth bender. You know, smoking cigarettes at the same
I can
time.
do it. I can do it.
Should we just restart with
Just keep
okay.
going. Just
Anyway,
keep going.
We lost Ryan again.
but I got to say the star of this movie is not Bale. It's
No,
not
of
Christian
course
Bale.
not.
No,
No,
totally
it's
not.
It's not Aaron Eckhart.
No.
It is Heath Ledger. Heath
Yes,
Ledger totally
100%.
steals this movie.
And this is his swan song. This is the best role I think he's ever done.
Yeah.
Or
And,
ever did.
You know, I got to say...
yeah, he won't be doing another one.
And on top of that note,
unfortunately.
it's the best Joker outside of Mark Hamill's Joker.
Well, you want to explain what that's from then?
The Mark Hamill Joker is from the 90s to 93
That's
Batman
early
series
90s.
that was marketed for tweens and teens, and
right.
it was the Joker in there is basically this Joker on cartoon. Heath Ledger brought that Joker to life.
Mm-hmm.
And from everything I've read, that version of the Joker is really based off a lot of the stuff that came out of the 80s. A
Yeah.
lot of the actual comic books.
Yeah, and you know, I just look at it as Heath Ledger saw that and studied it and brought that to live action. Nobody has ever done one like that before.
He spent a whole month by himself in a hotel room prepping
in front of
for
a mirror.
this. Yeah, prepping for this.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I just got to say thanks for choosing this movie because I forgot how good, in my opinion, how good this movie was.
Yeah.
And the reason I think I have a different feeling about it now than when I saw it is because we saw it right after the news came out that he died.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, you just kind of go, man, he's doing such a great job, but he just died. And it took the whole feeling for me away from the movie. So
Now, Rob, you, I'm sure remember the 1966 Adam West Batman.
yeah, absolutely.
I remember that one.
Yeah, but he was
From
alive
reruns.
when it was
Yeah, it wasn't reruns. I saw it. Yeah. What about it?
You have. I need to hear your comparison from Adam West to what they've gotten to now.
Oh,
You sure you have
the
time for
comparison? There is no comparison. Adam West was the whole idea. The poor guy ruined his whole career. His whole life went down in the toilet when he decided to take that role. So,
But you know,
it was awful.
as watching as a kid, I mean, it was still a fun Batman for a kid.
Yes, but this is...
Okay, maybe I wasn't young enough to find it fun because
My
it was, even then it was a joke.
Yeah, my other point about this movie is one of the reasons why I love this one. I think this one's better than the first one. Is Katie Holmes is gone.
Right?
Now, Rachel Dawes
Gyllenhaal.
is one of those sub characters that you're not really a fan of unless you're like really into the love story of Batman.
Right.
Is she actually in the canon, the original canon? Because I don't remember that at all.
As far as I know, in some of the cartoons or the comics, yes, she was around, but
Really?
I don't know how much of a love interest she was in. Like one or two that I read, I saw something about a love interest in. Anyway, but Maggie Gyllenhaal did a lot better role than Katie Holmes.
Yes. I'll have to be honest. Part of me wanted her Katie Holmes back just so you could have parody within the series itself.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that what they did with that character, they brought her back and then killed her.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's
here, let's clean up that mistake.
That's true, yeah.
That's kind of wish there was parody.
But anyway, you know, I love the I gotta say the way that they brought the villains in there, the Batman villains. I always looked at Two-Face and the Joker as the best Batman villains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree.
there are other ones I like, but I think those two are the ones that are more, I guess, realistic.
You know,
because Killer Croc and some of the other ones are kind of
they're a little fantasy kind of.
I do, however, love the Scarecrow.
I
big
do like who
Scarecrow
they
fan.
picked for the Scarecrow. He did a good job of that.
Yeah.
And then
that's the one that
on top of that, I mean, he was always one of those characters that kind of played with your mind, but he was drug induced. Unlike the Joker,
Yeah.
who literally twisted your mind around.
I do have to say, my favorite thing I read about this recently was the tongue thing that the Joker did.
Yeah.
Was based off of his real life tick.
Oh,
That's why it seemed so natural when he did it, because he actually did it in real life and just extended it, added more to it.
wow! Added more character to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, there is a scene in here that makes me forgive Ledger for Brokeback, which is actually saying something.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
it's
hold
the
on,
magic act.
Wait, hold on. Just a moment of silence. Let that sink in.
Yes,
Okay,
I
go.
actually forgave Heath Ledger for Brokeback off of the scene when he goes in and proposes his deal to all the underworld bosses, and he comes in and goes,
Yeah.
"Let me show you a magic act." Shows a pencil. Watch.
It disappears.
Bam!
Yes.
Disappears.
Yeah.
I love the whole jacket. That's not.
Let's not blow things out of proportion.
I love the whole scene, and I love the fact that one guy's like,
Yeah.
"Good
Yeah.
trick."
Yeah.
The other thing,
So you're right on the point. He is the star of this movie.
the other thing
No
I was
doubt
going to
about it.
mention is there's a thing that Nolan does in this one that he really didn't do in the first one, but he carried it over into the third one, is the heightened sound that he does during the stressful scenes. Like in the beginning where he brings it in and he basically kills all the background noise except for the noise that's going on during the scene when they're shooting the gun.
My
when
favorite
they're-
part, you also don't hear that stupid theme song all the time.
Yeah.
Because you notice in a lot of movies, when stuff like that happen, you like in, Star Wars, dun, 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 you don't hear that, which
Yeah.
I think, like you said, really heightens it because you don't know what's really happening. You don't
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah, the two scenes that are really big in showing this is showing what I'm trying to talk about is the opening scene where Joker's robbing the bank, and then the convoy scene.
You're right. It is quiet. I never noticed that.
Everything quiets down. There's kind of a little note that gets played during the convoy scene that you kind of hear, but for the most part, all the sound you hear is what is going on in the scene that he's showing you. There's no background noise. There's no real kind of white noise or anything going on. It's just what is going on.
In the convoy scene, scene, you hear the hum of the engine.
It's
you hear
focused.
some
I think
road
what
noise.
you're learning is the sound is focused.
That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
word.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that's what heightened it. Is because it wasn't all this white noise and all this junk.
Yeah,
it was focused on what he was doing when he was doing it. The sounds of it. His like John said, his tick.
Yeah.
With his mouth, and I mean everything was just amazing.
Yeah.
how he did
So it
that.
wasn't like the movie Transformers where there was everything just thrown at you.
Yeah,
Like,
so
there's
there's
cacophony of
as
them.
much
Here,
noise
there's-
as you can make.
You hear the
Yeah.
Transformers moving and their joints and just it's so much mayhem. Is what
Well,
I'd
wait till you
say.
get as old as me. My joints kind of sound like that too, right?
So Ryan, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Well, man, okay, let's see. You guys kind of brought up most of the stuff I was going to say. Okay, working backwards. The lack of sound, man, I that's one of the things I noticed the most, especially with the opening scene. And it does kind of focus your attention, but it also it's kind of this music when in movies like this, especially big epic movies, has a tendency to tell it to feel.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan.
At any given moment.
Yeah,
Hey,
call in.
hey, Ryan, can you slow down a little bit? Because you're kind of breaking up. So just try
Doug.
to.
Sure, I slow down.
Okay, basically what I'm saying is
Well, you're kind of
Sorry, I don't know. It's this Skype's doing it to you again, bud.
Yeah, we're hearing every other word basically.
You there?
What I was saying basically was in these big epic movies, the score or the theme song has a tendency to kind of make you feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in tense or suspense or whatever it's supposed to kind of draw out of you. The music's kind of leading you down that path. When you don't have the music, the only thing that you're sitting there with a feeling of is like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's happening here?
It's
and then you start paying attention to the bigger scope and or to the smaller details. You know,
it's kind of what No Country for Old Men did with not really having a soundtrack.
Right. The opening 10 minutes of that, no words, no music, just this guy finding money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, there was actually no music throughout the movie.
I don't remember any music in the entire thing unless it was on the radio.
Yeah, just about. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, playing off of the ambient noise,
mm-hmm.
it serves to set you in the world a little more. I mean, you know, you're still obviously telling a movie on this big scale and big scope, but letting those moments kind of just sit in your head for a couple of seconds without, you know, like I said, being led down the path of the score.
Yeah.
Is really cool. And the other thing, like I said, working backwards, the Joker. I love that James brought up Mark Hamill's Joker, because that, to me, because I didn't grow up in 1966 with Adam West's Batman.
Come on, you barely grew up in the
Batman
90s.
From a couple of comic books when I was a kid and the animated series.
Yeah.
The animated series. And, dude, I didn't even know Mark Hamill was the voice until maybe 5 years ago. I shit you not.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is, I know, embarrassing.
Wow.
But, yeah. But
I know. Such a turnaround from Luke.
It goes to show how
Poor
good of a character he really was with that voice.
Yeah, such an amazing voice actor. Amazing voice actor.
And
and how many times I've seen Star Wars, dude, and I never picked out that was Mark Hamill. I mean, he turned himself into the Joker. He was somebody entirely different, to where every time I even read a comic book, that's the voice I hear.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is you get to see voice acting instead of physical acting. Is you get to see the emphasis he puts on words, how he says it, the slurs. You really get to hear the fine actability of a voice actor versus, like, you know, a video actor.
Yeah.
Right. And Heath Ledger, you know, obviously, I think we all saw it, you know, shortly after hearing. I think he died in the summer.
Yeah.
Or just before the summer, maybe the spring before the movie was coming out in the summer. And but yeah, so I mean, that was still on everybody's head, and I mean, you know, there was going to be there was a lot of this buzz. I don't know, you remember, like, oh, everybody's going to say that it's amazing just because, you know, he died recently.
Wow.
And I know everybody was thinking that was going to happen, so everybody even coming out of it was going to be like, okay, listen, I know this is going to sound like I'm just saying this because he died, but that was really awesome.
You know, so many people were actually blaming what Rob brought up in the beginning of him locking himself in the hotel room for that month to get this character down. They were blaming that.
That was really
which is
wrong.
Well,
it is.
Well, if you look at it in one way, that was really the mythos that this particular movie brought to you. It's anybody who knows anything about Batman knows the Joker, knows the character,
knows the Joker is completely and utterly insane.
So I can see buying into that and going, anybody who plays the Joker to any level like he did might have had a hard time adjusting, getting off of that.
You know what?
What about Superman?
Yeah, well,
Superman is a cursed role.
You're still filming a movie, or you're still around a bunch of cameras and a bunch of really supportive people that are having, you know, jokes and fun and whatnot.
True.
I mean, I guarantee you it was a blast playing that role.
Yeah.
You know, they
He had more fun than Dark Times. I guarantee you that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I was just going through Wikipedia.
Meds with alcohol.
Go on.
Yeah,
I was just going through Wikipedia just to find out a little bit of the details about what he did that month, and It says this, to prepare for the role, Ledger lived alone in a hotel room for a month, formulating a character's posture, voice, and personality, and kept a diary in which he recorded the Joker's thoughts and feelings. That's how deep he got into this character.
Wow.
Yeah. While he initially found it difficult, Ledger eventually generated a voice unlike Jack Nicholson's, which character in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film, which we didn't even talk about. There's a complete difference.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I do think though that he had a lot of fun in that month because if you look at the canon and the source material, especially coming out of the 80s, early 90s, there's a lot of rich material that you can borrow from.
John, that's the other thing that I was actually going to say too, man. And then it's really hard to fail when you're pulling from such great source material.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that a lot of people are going to, bitch, especially comic book nerds, that, he's just mixing canon, you know what I mean? But there's so many different versions of Batman, so many different tellings of the same old stories. I mean, that's basically what you kind of have to look at this as. And sort of doing the shades of the Killing Joke, shades of the Dark Knight Returns kind of thing throughout the whole series. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just so hard to fail when you're using that good a story.
No, I agree completely. I will also add that I do think this movie has some amazing quotes. Just
Yes.
And it goes from like probably one of the best quotes I've read in a movie in a long time was "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain." Great line, by the way. Don't blow it out of proportion. The scene where he's talking to the mob bosses. Probably my favorite though is I believe whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other one I think that the antithesis of what the character of the Joker really was this town deserves a better class of criminal, so I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
That right there to me really shows that Joker was just screwing around, that his whole goal was to cause he's going to make the town burn just to watch it burn.
Well, he obviously didn't care about money.
And like it said in the description, he wants to bring any of his enemies to his level. You know what I mean? That's really the Joker's goal. I mean, that's why I said one of the other reasons it's hard to fail. You're using the Batman's arch nemesis, and he's his arch nemesis because his entire goal is to get Batman to kill somebody. Yeah. Whether it's him or himself, I mean, it doesn't matter. Just to get him to break that one rule that he has.
And it comes down to the end when he says, this is what happens when you have a movable, was it a movable object versus an immovable object? When you get to see the real heart of the issue.
An unstoppable object and an immovable object. Right.
When you get to see the real
force.
Yes. Yeah, I'm close enough. When you really get to see the real heart of the battle was at the very scene when he captured the Joker. When he says that line and you get to see the eternal, the forever battle they have is Joker's whole thing about doing this is just because of bats.
Right.
Because there's a line in the Batman Beyond movie, Return of the Joker, where Terry McGinnis says, Batman wouldn't know a joke if it hit him in the cowl. So I really think that comes to it is Joker would just like screwing with him, and everybody else just ended up in the wake.
There's one scene we hadn't talked about that I found particularly interesting was the two fairies scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where
the prisoner's dilemma.
Kind of. Yeah. Where Joker was certain that one or the other was going to set off the trigger, and of course neither did. And there was a character in there that Jonathan and I both could not come up with the name of. It was the in the prison fairy. It was the gentleman. He was the big black guy.
Yeah.
Big black guy.
He was the guy from Friday.
Yeah, and I looked him up. And his name is Tom Tiny Lester Jr.
Oh, I was thinking of never mind.
Yeah,
that's
his name.
Tiny Lester Jr.
Tom
Wow.
Tiny Lester Jr. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. And that was an interesting thing because looking at it when we were watching the movie, had I not already seen it before, you look at it and he says, well, here, you don't have the balls to do what needs to be done, basically is what he's saying. And he takes it, and of course, you expect him, okay, he's going to turn the key and set the thing off, and he throws it out the window. Mm-hmm. And he does that before the people in the Good Fairy does it, And so that was a real interesting scene, I thought.
Well, I actually agree. I think the thing about that one is they all knew they all knew they were prisoners.
Right.
And so they already know, we've screwed up. Let the people who, I agree. I think that was a really good scene.
Yeah.
And speaking to Christian Bale's comment later on, when he was fighting Joker.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite scenes is actually the Batman interrogation scene.
Yes.
Where he's interrogating Joker and he slams his into the desk and goes, never start with the person's head. Yeah. They become disoriented and they can't feel the next smash the hand. See? And then later when he's still in there and he's got the cop in there and he says, he's talking to the cop and he goes, I want my phone call. I want my phone call.
That's right, yeah.
And he just kind of starts bantering with him and goes, how many of your friends have I killed? And he goes, 6. Just the look on his face when he says 6, it's just he did it in such a way that that if that was you there, that would set you off.
It'd be interesting to know how many takes on some of these things.
Yeah,
like that particular scene. How many takes did it take, for him to get that feeling? Then
Yeah. And then the other part that I would mention before Ryan let Ryan go again is, I want to know how much of this was actually in the script and how much was ad-libbed by Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that once Nolan got to see how well Ledger knew the character, I'd like to believe that a lot of the nuances of the parts he's in were off the top of his head.
Well, the next thing we need to research is this diary that he supposedly kept during that month. I wonder if it's ever going to be published.
That would be cool.
I don't know. It probably would be in something like his biography or something if they ever do it.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Yeah,
anyway,
like
Ryan, what were you going to say before I cut you off? Which I'm
sort
going to
of,
do again
sort
right
of
now.
On the same note as whether it was in the script or not. I almost doubt it just because, as well as Heath Ledger sort of knew who the Joker was and where he was coming from, I think the overall arc of the story sort of, it had to have been kind of laid out really well. The reason I sort of compared it to the Killing Joke, which is a comic book, and I can't remember when it was published, maybe 1990s, mid-90s or something like that, but it was done by Alan Moore. The entire idea behind that book was like the idea that Joker could take anybody and just give them one really, really shitty day and have him turn into a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
And that seems to be his goal. And I mean, here you have somebody who's willing to spend as much resources as Bruce Wayne is to be Batman, to be the opposite of Batman. He's stealing his money, but he still has enough resources to do exactly what he wants to do. And then he loves giving people the choice to do what he does, which is go completely batshit crazy. Pardon the pun.
Like in the scene where he tries to collect the bounty on his own head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Exactly. I mean, going back to the fairy thing. I mean, it's like, look, I'm just going to show you that one bad day for these people can turn into me.
I have to be honest. There was one thing I really missed in this entire movie was the Joker poison. That was the one thing I really wish they, even if he didn't come up with it, that he just found this stuff that made people permanently grin, because it was always
think it
creepy.
actually came from the Scarecrow.
The intro with the bank robbing scene, which, by the way, I kept having to get up and go run errands and shit like that, so I kept coming back to the movie. I watched that opening scene like 4 times.
Isn't it just amazing? Just the way that he plays
I love that scene. Yeah. But I like to think that at the end, when he puts the smoke grenade in the guy's mouth, I just like to imagine that that's the laughing gas.
The Joker serum.
So I wanted to move it a little bit to Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart.
Because they did a few obvious foreshadowing, but my favorite part was when you got to say, according to the 90s cartoon, Big Bad Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
When he kidnapped the psycho guy.
The name Harvey Dent is a foreshadowing.
Well, yeah.
There's a...
But
trying to get to his makeup. I just think, and I don't know if they won an Oscar for makeup or special effects or anything, but that makeup...
It was an amazing job.
I just, because you look at, somewhere I'm looking for the picture of it, it's just incredible, because you would think that it would be puffed out away from his face.
Well, a lot of it, some of it was CGI, I was reading, well, it was practical effects, was some CGI, I was assuming.
It is unreal. I mean, that as far as I'm concerned, that should have gotten an Oscar just for itself. I mean, the special effects and the makeup in it was just. It's what happens when you have 30 pages of notes. but something to think about. I mean, it's just
the way the eye was popping out, the way that
the whole thing
had melted and showed his bone.
Yeah,
I love
teeth
I love the drinking scene when he went to kill the one of the prep cops. He's just like, all over him.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, that was almost as good as a makeup job as what they did in Pan's Labyrinth with that guy when he. When they sliced his cheek open. Yeah. But I would say this one's even more so because the way that his eye was moving naturally with his face. It was just really nice.
It was unbelievable. So who played the first Joker?
Oh, the very first Joker.
On the television series.
I do not know.
I can never remember his name.
Caesar Romano.
Caesar
Romano. Yeah.
Okay.
And they couldn't pay him enough to get him to remove his mustache.
No, I just, you know what, and it was very campy, but the whole TV series was. But you know what was interesting is that what we haven't seen is there's still an awful lot of villains out there that they could keep working on if they wanted. I mean, you got the Penguin. And now, if you got Burgess Meredith was incredible. If you guys ever go back and watch the TV, he was a stitch. He was incredible.
He was hilarious. Well, he was responsible for the whole laugh thing. Nobody laughed like that before him.
But my problem with all of it is they need to be careful about how many villains they throw into a movie, especially a Batman movie, because what did they do with Batman Forever? Was that the one where they had Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy?
Right.
It turns into X-Men 3.
Catwoman.
I'm not saying that, you can, and maybe it's time to have a movie of just the villains and not even have Batman.
No, I don't think you could.
I don't
think you
think
could do that. You would have to.
No, I bet it would. Batman's off doing Batman stuff, Or
well, that is Batman stuff taking the villains out.
You can't control the whole world. Come on, this is Gotham, so we're only talking about Gotham.
Well, if you want to talk about that, you could go later on in the canon when they do Batman Incorporated.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, really.
The other thing I thought, the funniest scene in the whole movie was kind of Bruce Wayne's James Bond moment when he was picking up the armor plate and hit a button and those batarangs flew out of his...
It's like that commercial, that James Bond commercial.
Yeah. No, I have to say, going back to Aaron Eckhart, is I thought he did a really good job. Mm-hmm. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody in this movie, no matter who they were, whether they were supposed to be Batman, Two-Face, Lucius Fox, Alfred Pennyworth, any of them, took a backstage to the Joker. So even the role that Aaron Eckhart did, or Commissioner Gordon, they did really good jobs in the role they did. They played the character really well, but you just kind of lose that because of the way Heath Ledger was in this. And I do got to say, Aaron Eckhart did a great job.
He did.
The makeup people, fantastic, phenomenal, beyond what you would expect. I think the role was really well. I don't, when he was playing Two-Face, I think he overacted it at times. I think there was a few times where he pushed the rage too much, that it wasn't it wasn't a psychotic, it was more of just a hatred, which was Two-Face, but I think it wasn't. I don't know, it was a little much for me.
I always thought that fit as some guy in this manic rage who whole world escaped, that basically died, and there's all this stuff, like this rage he's been holding back. That's kind of the way I took it.
Well, the one scene that I think that he did really great was when he's in the car with the Italian mob boss guy.
Yeah.
And he flips the coin and goes, okay, and then flips it again, and he goes, he's not lucky. Who? Your driver. Boom.
Yeah, as he
whole scene to me is what I see Two-Face as.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he's
I'm
a
really
controlled
glad
psycho.
they didn't play on the whole split personality bullshit.
Yeah, like what was it, Tommy Lee Jones?
Oh, I'm really happy and really, like chill and businessman, and then I'm really pissed off.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a stretch. I thought that scene when he's dealing with I can't think of the guy's name. Can you pull it up? It was like
which guy?
The
Tommy
Italian
Lee Jones?
guy. No, the Italian guy.
Oh.
In that scene with the car. I thought that was the really good pinnacle scene of what the Two-Face character was supposed to be.
Oh, it's Eric Roberts.
What was his character? Moroni. Thank you.
Moroni, yeah.
Anyway, but that's the scene that I see where Two-Face is really Two-Face. Not like Ryan said, where it's a split personality, which is what Tommy Lee Jones played it as.
Right.
More of a controlled rage psycho.
Oh, I was going to say, the other thing was going to say that I thought foreshadowed the Bat character more was the ending of the movie when Lucius Fox was typing in his name.
Yes.
That to me, I thought was the defining moment of the character when you get to see that Batman knew his limits.
Yeah.
And what
was okay and what was
morally he couldn't. You
Yeah.
got to see the defining of his rules.
Yeah, and I got to give Morgan Freeman more props on that because whoever chose Morgan Freeman to play that role did an excellent job.
And I was reading something also that apparently Aaron Eckhart was always going to play Two-Face because of his role in Thank You for Not Smoking.
Oh, really?
When
that was a really good movie by him.
Yeah, and apparently he was always the character he was going to play, according to what I read.
Wow, that's interesting.
You know what? I really hadn't even thought about it so much until right now. But James, you already brought it up, man. But how much Heath Ledger really stole this movie?
Yeah.
Based on how many amazing actors were in this movie.
Yes.
So,
like, you almost forget that Morgan Freeman, Christian Bale,
right,
Aaron Eckhart,
can you pull up Alfred Pennyworth? I can't think of his name.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
I mean, Morgan Freeman. There's so many amazing actors in this movie, and then it's all just
Gary
forgotten about because of Heath Ledger.
Yeah, because Heath Ledger just blows it out of the
water. Oh, yeah.
So, Ryan, what do you give this movie?
Oh, man. 4. And man, yeah, definitely a very, very solid 4, damn near a 5. It's the most, on-point Batman that's been made so far. So,
what about you, Rob?
It's the 17th top grossing movie ever.
Really?
So think about that.
Wow.
When I read that statistic, I went, wow, everybody must really like this movie. that's up there. And because I don't know what a 5 movie is. I don't know.
5 it exceeded and went beyond any expectation you may have had.
I understand the definition. I'm thinking to myself, have I seen a 5? And that's what I'm going at. So I'm with James, with Ryan on this one. I think a 4 plus.
Okay.
I really enjoyed, and the reason I said that is because I really enjoyed watching the movie. It was one of those things like, okay, now we got to sit down and do homework. It wasn't homework; it was actually having a good time watching the movie, and that's what made me.
Well, and keep in mind, guys, this is a character that's damn near 80 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is a character who keeps getting reinvented, that keeps getting better, keeps getting changed.
I don't know how much better you can get than
I agree.
the character.
I don't think anybody should ever. We should all be dead before another guy tries to play this role.
For me, this one is a straight 5 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
I don't give that lightly. After seeing Batman Begins, I didn't think that they could do better.
Yeah.
And they blew it out. I think this is better than the first or the third. And there is absolutely...
That's for damn sure.
I have no reason not to. And I have thrown out a 5 once or twice.
Yeah, we've done it a couple of times, but it's rare.
But so I have seen 5 movies, and this one...
Well, I'm too old. I've forgotten all the good ones already. So
but as far as I'm concerned, this one is right up there.
James...
Jonathan, what do you think? What's your opinion of this movie?
Yeah.
James kind of...
What would you say?
James,
have you talked yet about this?
James,
what's your rating again?
I'm still kind of waiting for the answer.
James kind of really...
Anytime, buddy.
Okay, hold on. Let me unmute everybody here. James really, kind of talked me into it. I got to give it a 5 out of 5 because of one thing, of it being the best version of the Joker ever. Better than anything that came before it, except for a cartoon, and that's saying a lot.
Yes, it is.
Live action, and I actually...
You liked him better, Mr. Freeze?
Oh, you're fired for that one. I have to say,
old guy joke.
I actually really hope, and I really hope there's never another Batman movie with a Joker in it, because after Ledger, you have a high.
You couldn't do
it. Standard.
And I was serious when I said we should all be dead before they ever tried again.
And
that's very true.
I think you could do it, but it would always be a version of Ledger's Joker.
You know what they could do? They could make a robot of Ledger and then have Mark Hamill be the puppeteer of it.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure they've tried.
Yeah, probably.
So we got a few minutes left for movie news, and James, what good or bad news? Do
Okay,
you have
let me put it this way. Other than Ryan, have you guys heard of Paul Rudd?
Yes. And I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to this.
Does John know what I'm going to say?
No, but
He is Ant-Man.
is he really?
Ant-Man.
Yes,
No shit.
he is going to be playing Ant-Man.
Because last time I
That's
heard,
awesome. I'm totally into this.
because last time I heard they were still trying to go out of over Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Nope, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was part of the rumor. Paul Rudd was the other part of the rumor, and the rumor is now that it is final. Paul Rudd is Ant-Man.
That is awesome.
So that's what we have to look forward to.
So,
Dum-da-dum-dum,
so for
da-dum.
everybody, let me give you a little bit of movies he's known for. Role models: Anchorman, I Love You Man, Knocked Up is the top 4 on IMDb. So this.
Don't forget about Clueless, yo.
Oh.
So
Wow.
now, what do you guys think about Stephen King novel movies?
The
It
Langoliers.
depends.
Most of
That's
them
one
are
that I
awful.
hadn't thought of in a while.
That'd be one to be fun to watch again.
Well,
but this is the picture of the guy that they were talking about.
There,
Yeah, there we
you
go.
just had it for a second. There, right there.
The interesting thing
Oh,
is the only good Stephen
Sorry,
King
Jonathan.
movie that everybody really likes is the one that he didn't really
The
have
Shining?
anything in. Yeah.
All right, you want to get sued, boy?
The Shining.
Because everybody likes the Kubrick version.
Now this one is coming out. Cell. It's got. There's no date posted on it. The thing that I find interesting about this is that this is the synopsis of it is when a mysterious cell phone signal causes apocalyptic chaos. An artist is determined to reunite with his young son in New England, and this is starring John Cusack, and Samuel Jackson has just been rumored to be picked up on it.
Oh wow.
Sounds like one of his more serious movies.
And it's a horror. That's what they're saying. It's going to be a horror. So this is an interesting thing. I've never heard of this. It's based off one of his novels.
Is it a novelette? Does it actually say novel?
It says based on a novel.
Wow.
Now the interesting thing, and Ryan, you'll kind of back me up on this. Of what did you think of Paranormal Activity 2?
The first one was so meta and so based on the marketing that it wasn't the same for the second.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's the director of this one has only had 4 movies. He's got Wings Over the Rockies, Adventures of Sebastian Cole, The Door in the Floor, and then Paranormal Activity 2. So it's going to be a little interesting. I got to say on the directing, if I look at Paranormal Activity 2 just on directing alone, I think it's not that badly done.
It is John
No, it was
Cusack.
fine, but I mean, it just didn't have the same, for that type of like found footage movie. The Blair Witch Project is the perfect example because it just the movie was made on the social nature of how it got put
So
around.
if you want to talk about the movie The Cell by Stephen King, it's a 449-page book published in January 24th, 2006, which is interesting because it's a newer book.
Yeah,
which
it is.
A lot of his newer books aren't made into movies.
Yeah, so that's
Well,
why.
I mean, dude, we're talking about a guy who writes, 480 books a minute.
He was writing so many books at one point in time. He published under a false name so he could keep writing novels.
Yeah. So I mean, Stephen King. I got to say,
I'm not a big.
He's got 7 books to be announced. Hasn't even come out yet.
I know.
But I mean, that just shows you how prolific this
I
guy
gotta say,
is.
some of these things are good.
And
but
this guy
if you
claims he does
take
it
in-
from his dreams.
But if
That's
you
the thing
take
that kills me.
But if you take in the scheme of how many books he's written,
Yeah.
the good ones are like so minimal.
So,
But that was my point. Is out of how many books he's written, the ones that they make movies out of tend to be pretty decent, unless they're like the made-for-TV bullshit.
Or Pet Cemetery.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going to jump
Carrie.
into the last bit of news, which is actually the good news. Mad Max Fury Road,
is it finally coming
which
out?
is still posted for 2014, has been having a lot of issues over the reshoots. There's been a lot of reshoots on
Heard about
this.
that, yeah.
And the reason why they're doing so many reshoots is
Mel
because this is not just Mel Gibson. This is actually going to be canon. They're writing actually based off of prequel stuff. As far as
Holy
gonna
crap.
go back over. an additional story material. So this is actually stuff that they decided should be added to the story, the actual story of Mad Max.
Oh, that's groovy.
So that makes me even more excited, because I mean, I was getting really worried that this is going to be in pre-production hell forever.
Yeah.
Or be another Thunderdome.
Yeah, or be another Thunderdome. But this one is actually supposed to be adding to the story. So that makes me excited.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week's pick happens to be Ryan's. So, what movie are you going to make us watch?
Leprechaun Deuce.
Actually, it's Leprechaun Back to the Hood. No, it's not.
It got real quiet in here real quick.
I was going back and forth trying to figure out which one. I mean, there's so many damn sequels that I've seen. I came seriously close to picking The Mighty Ducks 2. But I didn't.
So what did you pick? What did you pick?
What I did pick was Mission Impossible 3.
One I don't think I've seen.
Which one?
Okay, good.
Think for a second,
I'm sure you've all seen Mission Impossible 1. And I'm sure based on liking Mission Impossible 1, you probably went out and saw Mission Impossible 2. And then based on hating that movie like I did, never went to go see another one again.
Hence the reason I've never seen
You may be
3
right.
or 4.
I'm not sure I saw it either.
Okay, yes, I have seen this one. Okay.
Okay, this one is basically, Ethan Hunt back at his own shit, with the bad guy being played by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, wow.
In my opinion, one of the best villains put into a Mission Impossible series. And I know the Mission Impossible things kind of turned into a saga, but this is when it was still kind of a trilogy. This one totally redeems the second one. Totally redeems.
Wow.
I'm going to shut my mouth, because I have things to say, but I will wait for next week.
So it's Mission Impossible 3. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that Real Flix Reviews does have a Facebook page. You take a look down at the bottom.
Did Ryan just blink?
So please do us a favor and tell us what movies you want us to review. Let us know what you think, and just drop us a line. Say, hey, what's up? And so I'll also remind you that we gave Dark Knight, not Rises. Oh shit!
That's number 3.
Yeah.
And gave Dark Knight. I gave it a 5 out of 5. James gave it a 5 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 4 out of 5. Rob gave it a 4 out of 5.
4.5.
Really high marks for a Batman movie. So
for you digital people, 4.5.
So ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor. See you next week.
Goodbye.